the Vegas Golden Knights against the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars are at home. They won their division. They have an insanely good team, as does Vegas. But one story about Vegas is they kind of limped into the playoffs after that insanely good first month. They kind of went crazy in that first one. That was enough for them to play 500 hockey and make it in. They had some injuries. Mark Strom looks like he might come back. Thomas Riddle's back after the deadline. They added Noah Hanifin, added a bunch of guys. It looks like it's going to be a great series. So, Matt, can Vegas bring it all together again and beat the Dallas Stars in the first round? Do you think that can happen?
I think it'll be close. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one-sided for either Dallas or Vegas. Obviously, Vegas comes in, they're the cup contending champs. Dallas wants to make a name for themselves. Obviously, Dallas was on the road to the cup final for Vegas last year. So it'll be really close.
No, of course. And just looking at the Dallas Stars lines, as we know,
Like it's so deep.
they have one of the deepest teams in the league. I'm just looking at their roster on Daily Faceoff right now. Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Joe Pavelski, Mason Marchant, Matthew Shane, who has been unbelievably good for them this year, Evgeny Dodonov, then Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnson, Logan Stankoven. I think their third line is going to be the X factor in this series, guy, especially a guy like Logan Stankoven. We'll get into him later. Sam Steele, Radek Faxo, Craig Smith. And then defensively, Darius, let's go to you. Their first pair is made up of Miro Heiskanen and someone who had his coming out party this year, Thomas Harley. Talk about him and what he does for Dallas this year.
Thomas Harley is a great and underrated, I think. Well, I guess not anymore because of the season he had, but a great two-way defenseman. And I think he's going to finally show everyone why Dallas picked him and where he's been the last couple of years, because his development's been weird. It was through COVID and all that stuff, right? Like when he finally was able to make the NHL and maybe the AHL. So I think he's finally going to show everyone why they drafted him and so highly. And he's a great player. He's going to be an X factor for them. He's on the first pairing now, even though he's a left shot defenseman. So is Heiskanen, but they play well together. So that's great. And Harley played some time when he had to on the right side of Mississauga. Only a guy like me would know that. But when they were in a pinch, he did that. So Thomas Harley, he's going to be an X factor in this series because obviously teams have video on him now, but can he take his game to the next level even? Because we've seen, Heiskanen did that at the beginning of his career. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, okay, he's a superstar. And I think Harley's going to reach that level too. Like quickly. I think it's going to happen. So Dallas, man, they're going to be,
They're crazy.
I'm telling you, once we get to the predictions, Dallas, I have them very highly
No, Dallas,
picked,
Dallas. Yeah. If there was a team, man, it's Dallas. But we go on. That was just the first pair we talked about. You go on to the second pair: Ryan Suter and trade deadline acquisition Chris Tanev. Matt, what has Chris Tanev brought to the Dallas Stars over these past 20-ish games?
Just consistent play. Like that's what they brought him over from Calgary for. He's got that playoff pedigree, and I think he's been in a few playoff runs with the Flames. Not necessarily runs, but just playoff games.
This guy was to throw shade at the fucking Flames, eh?
Whenever I can, I do it. But like Suter and Tanev, like that is a playoff pair right there. Like Suter, time hasn't caught up to him, not yet, anyways, and that's just a nice shutdown pair for the playoffs. And for Dallas, like for that to be your, like that's not even your first pair, but your second pair, that's deep. That is a deep blue line.
That is a deep blue line, and you go to Esa Lindell and Niels Lundqvist as well. A very formidable third pair. But let's go a little bit to goaltending here for both squads. By the way, that lineup I just listed out didn't have Tyler Seguin in it. He's day to day, so he'll probably slot in there on the I think the second line seems like based on this. But in net you have Jake Ottinger versus Aiden Hill. It seems like, despite Aiden Hill kind of having a mediocre regular season, same thing with Ottinger. But you're expecting these guys to rise in the playoffs. Darius, what are you seeing from the goaltender matchup in this series?
Well, on paper, I mean, when we all looked at Aiden Hill last year, we're like, how is Vegas going to win the cup or even go far in the playoffs with a goalie like that? And they did it because of their play styles. So I think when you look at the goaltending matchup, it's a little unfair because of play styles. And I think Vegas is going to kind of shelter Aiden Hill. But I think Ottinger is going to be good this year too. I think he's going to be he seems to me like one of those goalies that goes up and down, like Bobrovsky we've seen, and different goalies like that, right? So I think last year they still went pretty far, but he wasn't necessarily fantastic. And a lot of people throughout the season have been saying, he's not going to be the guy to get them to the promised land. But I think he's going to be really, really good. And I think he's like one of the better goalies in the NHL now anyway. So obviously, you struggle throughout a season, but he's going to be great. But I think it's more the goaltending in this series will have more to do with play styles.
Of course, and just looking at Jake Ottinger's regular season, 54 games played, 35, 14, and 4. 905 average, little average save percentage from him. And in the playoffs last year, didn't do so great actually. I mean, he did play. He started 19 games, went 10-9, 8.95 save. There was a couple games where he got absolutely lit up.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But in the playoffs, we always talk about what are the superstars going to do. Guys like Jason Robertson, Darius Rupe Hintz,
Yes,
and
sir.
Joe Pavelski, who has been superbly underrated his whole career. But I want to talk about the rookies, the young guys on the Dallas Stars. Wyatt Johnson, Logan Stankoven. Matt, what are these two going to do for an already deep Dallas team? There's no book on them just yet, it seems like.
No, and it seems like every cup contending team or cup winning team has had a few, rookies that have played up to their potential because you need a few guys on like rookie deals to sort of, play around with the cap a little bit. But Wyatt Johnston, Stankoven, they come in, they're rearing to go. I mean that's all you need, just like some young firepower in an already deep lineup. Like you can't go wrong there.
No, of course. So that the Dallas Stars are looking very good, and Aiden Hill, with the Golden Knights this year, 909 save, 35 games played. There's an interesting question to be asked though, because despite Aiden Hill coming in putting up a 9.32 last year en route to the Stanley Cup victory for the Vegas Golden Knights, someone like Logan Thompson might have something to say about how good Aiden Hill is, because Logan Thompson this year, same kind of stats as Aiden Hill. Vegas is going to roll with Aiden Hill, but if push comes to shove, Logan Thompson can come in and play some good games. Darius, you see Logan Thompson being a big factor in this series?
If it comes down to injury, right? I think the guy is Aiden Hill. He's earned that spot, and obviously Stanley Cup champion. So, barring an injury, I don't see Thompson coming into the series unless like things get crazy out of hand, right? Because like I said, it's gonna come down to play style. So if Dallas can kind of expose any weakness in Vegas, which is very minimal, then maybe he gets into it if they have to switch up the goaltender. But I just don't see him coming in unless there's an injury, to be honest.
Fair enough. Now let's switch to Vegas. I want to talk about their lineup. It's very Daily Faceoff has 6 guys injured right now, so I'm not gonna just read the lines verbatim, but a mix like let's talk about their injury list right now. Okay, yeah. Mark Stone, Anthony Mantha, William Curie, Alex Pietrangelo, Chandler Stevenson, and Noah Hannafin. A lot of those guys are day-to-day because they probably didn't play the last game, but dude, those 6 guys are huge impact players. There is, Mark Stone might play, but let's look at the guys who played the last game. Jack Eichel, Jonathan Marchessault, who just won the Conn Smythe, Tomas Hertl, Ivan Barbashev, William Karlsson, and then the back end is crazy. Matt, do you think the depth can go toe-to-toe here between these two teams?
On paper, like Vegas, like they could look a little weaker, but obviously, you need to slot in those injured names. But I mean, it's a lot closer than you think. Like name-wise, like game one, we will see like Mantha, hopefully Mark Stone, Alex Pietrangelo, Noah Hannafin. Like Pietrangelo and Hannafin, like they're 2 big names on the back end slotting in, and it's gonna be a bloodbath. It really is. I think so.
No, I think it's gonna be one of the most exciting series for sure.
Like for Dallas, like they've completely gotten rid of like the boring team narrative. Like I've watched a few games this year. It's like this is like the antithesis of like Dallas Stars hockey. Like they're actually entertaining now.
Mm-hmm. Of course, and if you look at special teams, Vegas isn't anything too special on the penalty kill. Dallas though, 82% on the PK could be big. Vegas kind of middle of the pack, but if we switch to the power play percentage, the Dallas Stars top of the league as well. Special teams are going to play a big factor in this, but overall, Darius, who do you see having the biggest impact on this series if you had to pick one singular player from each squad?
Biggest impact, I think, or potential to, for me, would be Jason Robertson, because he kind of, I don't know, in big moments recently, he's kind of disappeared, and I think that was something a lot of people were talking about even last playoffs, because he scored, I think, 50 goals last year or close.
Something like that. It was crazy.
Somewhere in the area, and kind of disappeared in certain moments when they needed him. But other guys stepped up. But I think potential to do that, because he does have the superstar power, it's Jason Robertson, I think, is going to have to be the guy for Dallas, because he is the guy, right? So yeah. Be the guy.
No, of course. Matt, who do you see coming out and being huge for Vegas?
I mean, in the time that he has been a Golden Knight, in the time he's been healthy, Mark Stone. I mean, for the amount of time he's been on the shelf, back for game one, he's the captain. He's gonna see this Dallas Stars team and think, okay, I have to elevate my game even higher than he did last year, and he elevated that tremendously high.
Yep. And there's to your point, last year Jason Robertson did have 109 points and 46 goals. This year he had almost a 30-point drop off. He had 80 points and 29 goals. And like you said, if we go to the playoffs, last year 18 points in 19 games, but 7 goals in 19 games. Maybe you want a little more out of the go-to guy in the squad. But Matt, to your point about Mark Stone, he does get injured, but when he plays, it's like he's never been hurt before. This year,
Exactly. Yeah.
in 56 games played, 53 points. So that was unbelievable. We were talking about in the beginning of the season how he might not even touch the ice, but he was perfectly fine when he was healthy. If we go over to the playoffs here, he has also been unbelievably strong. Last year, on the route to captaining the Stanley Cup champions, 24 points in 22 games. This series is going to be awesome. Matt, what is going to be the outcome for you? What is your prediction?
Oh, it's like I said, it's going to be a bloodbath, and Vegas in 7 games.
Okay, Darius.
Dallas in 7 games. It's gonna be very tight. It's gonna be very tight. But I have Dallas. I ranked Dallas very highly this entire season, and I think I said at the beginning of the year too, they're my pick to win the Stanley Cup. So they have to go through everyone. So they're gonna go through Vegas.
Not a bad pick. And I also have the Dallas Stars. I think they'll take it in 6 though. I think this could be the potential year where just bringing all these guys back from injury for Vegas might not work right away, and Dallas does have the kind of firepower to just take advantage of that. So, I picked Dallas, Darius picks Dallas, and Matt picks Vegas in 7. This year's gonna be awesome. The playoffs are here. Everyone, enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy the first weekend of the NHL playoffs, and have a good one, everyone. Peace out.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.